Ambassador Kang Min walked slowly across the huge chamber floor. His black shoes made soft sounds on the smooth metal surface. Above him, thousands of alien beings sat in curved rows that went up and up like a giant bowl. Their eyes, tentacles, and glowing parts all pointed down at him. This was the Galactic Council Chamber. The most important place in the galaxy. Today would be the last time any human would stand here. Kang Min was 60 years old. His hair was gray and his face had lines from many years of hard work. He wore the dark blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic service. On his chest was a small pin with the image of Earth, a tiny blue dot that most aliens could not even see without special tools. He reached the speaking platform in the center of the chamber. The platform was made of some alien metal that felt cold under his hands. When he touched it, lights came on and his voice would be heard by every being in the room. Behind him sat the other humans. Captain Lee Yun was there in her military uniform. Dr. Park Jun wore his scientist clothes. There were 12 humans total, 12 people to speak for all of humanity. Around them sat aliens of every shape and size. The Velkans looked like giant lizards with 4 arms. Their skin was green and they had sharp teeth. They made hissing sounds when they talked. The Nexari were like living crystals that changed colors to show their feelings. Right now they were glowing orange, which meant they were angry. There were bird-like aliens with bright feathers. There were aliens that looked like walking trees. Some aliens were so strange that humans had no words to describe them. All of them were staring at Kang Min. Beings of the Council, Kang Min began. His voice was calm and clear. Today we vote on Resolution 4471. This resolution asks for one simple thing. It asks that humans be given the same rights as other council members. A loud sound filled the chamber. It was the Velkans hissing. They did not like what Kang Min said. Kang Min continued. For 30 Earth years, humans have been part of this council. We have given you our best technology. We have sent our young people to fight in your wars. We have shared our food, our medicine, and our knowledge. He looked up at the Trilon section. The Trilons looked almost like humans, but their skin was blue and they had no hair. They had been Earth's first alien friends. Today, even they would not help. What have we asked for in return? Kang Min's voice got a little louder. We have asked only to be treated fairly. We have asked for the same voice that you give to species with half our population. We have asked for the same respect you show to civilizations younger than ours. More hissing came from the Velkans. Some of the crystal Nexari began flashing red lights. This meant they were very angry. Dr. Park Jun sat behind Kang Min and felt sick to his stomach. He had spent 15 years working with alien scientists. He had helped cure diseases that killed millions of aliens. He had shared human secrets about medicine and farming. And still, they treated humans like children. Captain Lee Yun watched from her seat and remembered the Battle of Kepler Station. Human ships had saved 3 alien worlds from space pirates. 50 human soldiers had died protecting alien families they had never met. The aliens said thank you and then voted against giving humans better treatment. The vote will now begin, said Council Prime Veltar. The Nexari leader was a huge crystal being that sat at the top of the chamber. When he spoke, his voice sounded like music, but cold music with no feeling. The voting began. Each species had a turn to speak. One by one, they said no to human equality. The Velkans spoke first. Humans are too young, said their leader. They have been in space for only 200 of their years. We have been in space for 10,000 years. They must wait. The Grexians went next. They looked like rocks with arms and legs. Humans are too emotional, their speaker said. They start fights. They make trouble. They are not ready for full membership. More and more species voted no. Each time they gave reasons that made no sense. Humans were too young but also too aggressive. Humans were too weak but also too dangerous. Humans were too different but also too much like other species. Dr. Park Jun wanted to stand up and shout. These same aliens came to human hospitals when they were sick. They used human technology every day. They ate human food and lived on worlds that humans had helped to build. But still they said humans were not good enough. The few species that voted yes were small and weak. They were grateful for human help, but their votes did not matter much. Finally, the Trilons voted. Everyone thought they would help humans. Instead, their leader said, "We abstain." This meant they would not vote yes or no. They were afraid to help their human friends. Captain Lee Yun felt her hands make fists. She had fought beside Trilon soldiers. She had saved Trilon lives. And now they would not even vote to help humans. The final count appeared on screens around the chamber. 847 species voted no. Only 23 voted yes. 156 abstained. It was the biggest rejection in council history. The chamber became very quiet. All eyes looked down at Kang Min. He stood at the platform for a long moment reading the numbers. Then he looked up at Council Prime Veltar. The resolution fails, Veltar announced. His crystal body flashed with satisfied blue light. Kang Min nodded slowly. He had expected this, but it still hurt to see it happen. Thank you, Council Prime, Kang Min said. I have one more announcement to make. The chamber became even quieter. Some aliens leaned forward to hear better. As of today, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council, Kang Min said. His voice was still calm, but now it was also cold. We came here 30 years ago seeking partnership. We hoped to find friends among the stars. Instead, we found only prejudice dressed up as wisdom. Now the chamber exploded with noise. Aliens were talking, shouting, and making their species sounds of surprise. Some Nexari flashed so bright they hurt to look at. Kang Min waited for the noise to die down. Then he continued. We will remove all human personnel from council facilities. We will end all shared projects and research. We will recall our peacekeeping forces and our aid workers. Council Prime Veltar's crystal body flashed red with anger. You cannot simply leave, he said. There are procedures. There are treaties. The treaties you speak of require good faith from both sides, Kang Min replied. Today you have shown that good faith does not exist. The human delegation stood up. Captain Li Yun walked to the platform first. Dr. Park Jun followed. All 12 humans came to stand with their ambassador. We leave you with this thought, Kang Min said to the chamber. You have taught us that the galaxy is not ready for human friendship. We will remember this lesson. The humans turned and walked toward the exit. Their footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. As they reached the doors, Kang Min stopped and looked back one last time. When you need us again, he said, remember this day. Remember that you chose pride over partnership. The doors closed behind them with a soft sound. The humans were gone. In the chamber, some aliens began to worry. The Mindara delegate, who looked like a giant butterfly, whispered to her aide, What will we do without their medical technology? A young Trilon diplomat asked his elder, Should we have voted to help them? But most aliens felt satisfied. The troublesome humans were gone. The galaxy would be more peaceful now. They had no idea how wrong they were. 3 months passed after the humans left the council. At first, most aliens thought nothing would change. They were wrong. Admiral Kim Bo stood on the bridge of the space station called Harmony's Edge. The station was huge, bigger than most cities. It had been built by humans and aliens working together. Now the humans were leaving and they were taking everything that belonged to them. Kim Bo was a tall woman with short black hair. She wore the dark green uniform of Earth's Space Navy. On her shoulder was a patch showing her rank, 5 gold stars. She had been in space for 20 years and she had never seen anything like this before. Status report, she said to her aide, Lieutenant Nam Su. Nam Su looked at his tablet. Admiral, we have removed 60% of human equipment. The aliens are starting to panic. Through the big windows of the bridge, Kim Bo could see human ships docked at the station. They were loading cargo and people. Red and blue lights flashed as loading robots moved back and forth. Everything with human writing on it was being taken away. Dr. Choi Su was in her laboratory on Deck 15. She was packing away 15 years of her work. The laboratory had been her home away from home. She had spent more time here than on Earth. Su was 45 years old and very smart. She knew more about alien biology than almost any human. Her work had saved millions of alien lives. She had created new medicines that worked on dozens of different species. Her research partner was an alien called Flutterwind. Flutterwind belonged to a species called the Kyrians. They looked like giant moths with soft fur and big wings. Flutterwind's fur was silver and gold, and when she was sad, it turned gray. Please do not go, Flutterwind said in her high singing voice. Your research saves so many lives. The galaxy needs your knowledge. Sue looked at her alien friend and felt sad. I know, she said. But your council made their choice. They do not want humans as equals, so we cannot work as equals. Sue picked up a container full of research data. Inside were the secrets to curing 12 different alien diseases. This research belongs to humanity now, she said. We developed it with human time and human minds. Flutterwind's fur turned even grayer. But what about the sick aliens who need this medicine? What about the humans who died protecting alien worlds? Sue asked back. What about the human scientists who shared everything they knew? Your people took our help and gave us nothing in return. Sue sealed the container and put it with the others. Years of work gone. But she was not sorry. The aliens had made their choice. On Deck 22, Engineer Nam Ho was doing something that scared the aliens even more. He was disconnecting the main power systems. Nam Ho was 38 years old and very good with machines. He had designed most of the station's important systems. The life support, the gravity, the air recycling, all of it was human technology. A group of alien engineers watched him work. They looked worried. Very worried. What will happen to the station without these systems? Asked a Grexian engineer named Rockstomper. The Grexians looked like walking rocks, and Rockstomper was bigger than most. Nam Ho did not look up from his work. You will have to build your own systems, he said. This is human technology. We are taking it with us. But we do not know how to build these things, Rockstomper said. His voice was deep and rough like stones grinding together. Then you should have thought of that before you voted against us, Nam Ho replied. He pulled out another piece of equipment. You wanted us gone. Now you get what you wanted. A Nexari engineer was there too. The Nexari looked like living crystals, and this one was flashing red with panic. The station will die without these systems, the crystal being said. Nam Ho finally looked up. No, it will not die. But it will not work very well. You will have to fix that yourselves. All over the galaxy the same thing was happening. Humans were leaving and they were taking their technology with them. On the planet Kepler Prime, human farmers were shutting down their food machines. The machines could grow more food in one day than normal farming could grow in a month. Without them, Kepler Prime would have food shortages. On the mining world of Vega 7, human engineers were removing the deep drilling equipment. The machines could dig deeper and find more minerals than any alien technology. Without them, the mines would produce much less. But the worst thing was happening in space itself. Humans had built most of the galaxy's communication systems. They had put relay stations near every star. These stations let aliens talk to each other across huge distances. Commander Li Jin was in charge of shutting down the relay network. He was on a small ship called the Pathfinder, visiting relay stations one by one. Station 447, this is Commander Li Jin, he said into his radio. Please prepare for shutdown and evacuation. The voice that answered was scared. Commander, this station serves 50 star systems. If you shut it down, they will not be able to communicate. That is no longer our problem, Li Jin replied. You have 1 hour to evacuate. Then we are taking the station. The relay station was small, just a few rooms where 3 aliens lived and worked. But it was very important. Without it, 50 star systems would be cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Li Jin felt a little sorry for the aliens, but he remembered the vote in the council chamber. 847 species had said humans were not good enough. Now they would learn what losing humans really meant. Back on Harmony's Edge, Admiral Kim Bo was getting reports from all over the galaxy. The evacuation was going well. Almost all human personnel had been removed from alien facilities. Human ships were carrying away equipment, supplies, and people. Admiral, said Lieutenant Namsu, we are getting emergency calls from 12 star systems. They are asking us to leave the terraforming equipment. Terraforming equipment was very special. It could change the air and weather on a planet to make it livable. Humans had developed this technology and shared it with aliens. Now 17 alien worlds depended on human terraforming machines to stay alive. What do our engineers say? Kim Bo asked. Engineer Nam Ho says the machines belong to us. We built them with human knowledge and human materials. He says we should take them. Kim Bo thought about this. Without the terraforming machines, millions of aliens would have to leave their homes. Some might die. It was a hard choice. But then she remembered Captain Li Yun's words from the council chamber. The aliens had chosen pride over partnership. They had rejected human friendship. Tell Nam Ho to proceed, Kim Bo said. Take the machines. Namsu nodded and sent the message. Within hours, human ships landed on 17 worlds. They loaded the terraforming machines onto cargo ships. The aliens who lived on these worlds watched in fear. Without the machines, their planets would become too hot or too cold or too poisonous to live on. Some aliens tried to stop the humans. On the world of New Vigera, Grexian soldiers surrounded a human cargo ship. But the humans had anticipated this. Captain Park Tay commanded the human ship. He was a big man with scars on his face from many battles. He had fought pirates and rebels to protect alien worlds. Now those same aliens were pointing guns at him. "Stand down," Park Tay told the Grexian soldiers. "This equipment belongs to humanity." The Grexian commander was called Ironback. He was even bigger than Park Tay with skin like gray stone. "You cannot take this machine," Ironback said. "Without it, our colony will die." "Your people should have thought of that before they voted against us," Park Tay replied. "You made your choice in the council chamber." Ironback raised his weapon, a plasma rifle that could melt steel. "I will not let you murder our colony." Park Tay smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Look up," he said. Ironback looked up and saw human warships in the sky. 5 of them with weapons pointed down at the colony. "You can try to stop us," Park Tay said, "but then your colony will die today instead of next year." "Your choice." Ironback lowered his weapon. He had no choice. The humans took the terraforming machine and left. All across the galaxy, the same scene played out. Aliens watched helplessly as humans removed their technology. Some begged, some threatened, some offered money or trade deals. The humans took their equipment anyway. On Earth, President Yang Dal watched reports from around the galaxy. Her office was full of advisors and generals. Everyone looked worried. "Madam President," said Defense Minister Ryu Han, "we are getting thousands of requests for help. The aliens are panicking." Yang Dal was 55 years old and had been president for 6 years. She had hoped humanity could find friends among the stars. Instead, they had found only prejudice. "Any requests from council members?" she asked. "No, Madam President. They are too proud to ask for help. But their colony worlds are sending secret messages." Yang Dal nodded. "What about our allies?" "The species that voted for us? They are asking if they can join us. They want to leave the council too." This was interesting news. 23 species had voted to help humanity. They were small and weak, but they were loyal. "Tell them they are welcome on Earth," Yang Dal said. "We will find new homes for them if they want to leave the council." Outside Earth's atmosphere, the last human ships were arriving home. They carried people and equipment from across the galaxy. But they also carried something else: anger. The humans had tried to be good galactic citizens. They had shared their knowledge and protected alien lives. 6 months had passed since the humans left the council. The galaxy was learning what life was like without them. It was not going well. Council Prime Veltar sat in his crystal chamber on the council capital world. His body was flashing between blue and red lights. He was confused and angry. In front of him was a hologram showing the Kepler 442 star system. The star was acting strangely. Dr. Zixtal was the council's chief scientist. He was a Nexari like Veltar, but smaller and more nervous. His crystal body was flashing yellow with fear. "Council Prime," Zixtal said, "the star is becoming unstable. Our computers say it will send out a massive solar flare in 3 days." Veltar looked at the data. The solar flare would be huge, big enough to destroy the atmosphere of 12 planets. Billions of aliens lived on those worlds. "What can we do?" Veltar asked. Zixtal's crystal body flickered. "Nothing, Council Prime. We have no technology that can stop a solar flare. The humans had such technology, but they took it when they left." Veltar felt a cold feeling in his crystal core. When the humans were part of the council, they had built warning systems near every star. These systems could predict solar flares months in advance. They could also build shields to protect planets. But the humans had taken all of that technology away. "How many beings will die?" Veltar asked. 12 billion, Council Prime. Maybe more. Veltar's crystal body turned dark blue. This was very bad news. On the planet Mindara Prime, Dr. Fluttersong was trying to evacuate her people. The Mindara looked like giant butterflies with bright-colored wings. Fluttersong's wings were gold and silver, but now they were folded with worry. Her planet was directly in the path of the coming solar flare. In 3 days, the radiation would kill every living thing on Mindara Prime. "How many ships do we have?" she asked her aide. "Only 50, Doctor. We can evacuate maybe 10,000 people." Fluttersong felt sick. There were 12 million Mindara on the planet. The other 11,990,000 would die. She looked at her communication screen. On it was a message she had been staring at for hours. It was from Dr. Omin on the human world of Kepler 438b. Dr. Omin had been the Council's best expert on solar flares. She was Korean, like many humans, with short black hair and smart eyes. She had worked with Fluttersong for 5 years before the humans left. The message was simple. We know about the solar flare. We can help. But things have changed. Fluttersong knew what things have changed meant. The humans would not give free help anymore. They wanted something in return. She pressed the button to send a reply. Please help us. We will give you anything you want. On Kepler 438b, Dr. O Min received the message. She was in a meeting room with other human leaders. The room was simple, white walls, a long table, and chairs. But the people in the room were very important. President Yang Dal was there, appearing on a video screen from Earth. Admiral Kim Bo was there in person. She had come to Kepler 438b to oversee the human colonies in this sector. Defense Minister Ryu Han was also on video from Earth. The situation is clear, Dr. Omin said. 12 worlds will be destroyed in 3 days. We can save them, but only if we act now. Admiral Kim Bo looked at the data on her tablet. How many ships would we need? 20 solar shield generators, Dr. Ye. Omin replied. And 50 support ships. It would be the largest rescue operation in galactic history. President Yang Dal spoke from her video screen. What do the aliens offer in return? Everything, Madam President. They are desperate. Defense Minister Ryu Han leaned forward. This could be our chance to show the galaxy that they need us, but we must be smart about it. Admiral Kim Bo agreed. If we just give free help, nothing will change. They will take our aid and then forget about us again. President Yang Dal was quiet for a moment. She was thinking about the 12 billion aliens who would die. She was also thinking about the 847 species that had voted against humanity. We help, she finally said, but on our terms. Admiral Kim Bo, prepare the fleet. Dr. Omin, contact the aliens and tell them our conditions. 3 hours later, the largest human fleet ever assembled was leaving Kepler 438b. 20 massive ships carried solar shield generators. 50 more ships carried supplies and support equipment. At the head of the fleet was Admiral Kim Bo's flagship, the Earth's Pride. But the fleet did not go directly to the threatened worlds. Instead, it stopped at the edge of the Kepler 442 system and waited. Dr. O Min sent a message to all 12 threatened worlds. The human rescue fleet has arrived. We can protect your planets, but first you must agree to our conditions. On Mindara Prime, Dr. Fluttersong received the list of conditions. She read them quickly, her golden wings shaking with nervousness. The humans wanted formal recognition as a sovereign power. They wanted permanent bases on each rescued world. They wanted exclusive trading rights. Most importantly, they wanted the rescued worlds to leave the Galactic Council and join a new organization, the Human Commonwealth. Fluttersong did not hesitate. She sent back a message immediately. We agree to all conditions. Please save our people. But other worlds were not so quick to agree. The Grexian colony of Ironheart was one of the threatened planets. The Grexians were proud and stubborn. Their leader, Governor Rockstomper, refused the human conditions. We will not bow to human demands, he announced. We would rather die free than live as human slaves. Dr. O Min received this message and showed it to Admiral Kim Bo. What do we do about the Grexians? Kim Bo looked at the tactical display. Ironheart had a population of 800 million Grexians. In 2 days they would all be dead. Send them another message, Kim Bo said. Tell them they have 24 hours to change their minds. After that, we save the worlds that want to be saved. The next day was chaos. On 8 of the 12 threatened worlds, governments voted to accept human conditions. They would leave the Council and join the Human Commonwealth in exchange for protection. On 3 worlds, the governments were still debating. The people were scared, but their leaders were proud. On Ironheart, Governor Rockstomper held firm. No human will tell Grexians what to do, he announced to his people. But not all Grexians agreed with him. In the cities of Ironheart, millions of Grexians protested in the streets. They wanted their government to accept human help. "We do not want to die for your pride," shouted one protester named Pebble Crusher. She was a young Grexian with smooth gray skin. "Accept the human offer and save our lives." But Rockstomper would not listen. "Death before dishonor," he said. With 18 hours left, the human fleet began moving. Admiral Kimbo ordered the solar shield generators to deploy around the 8 worlds that had accepted human conditions. Dr. O-Min worked with teams of human engineers to set up the shields. Each shield was enormous, bigger than a moon. They used fusion reactors to create energy fields that could deflect solar radiation. The work was dangerous and difficult. Human engineers flew small ships close to the threatened worlds, setting up the shield generators in exactly the right positions. If they made a mistake, the shields would fail and billions would die. On Mindara Prime, Dr. Fluttersong watched human ships working around her planet. The solar shield generators looked like giant metal flowers opening in space. As they powered up, they created shimmering energy fields that surrounded the whole planet. "It is beautiful," Fluttersong said to her aide. "The humans are saving us." But on Ironheart, there were no human ships. Governor Rockstomper had refused help, and the humans respected his choice. The Grexian world would face the solar flare alone. With 6 hours left, panic spread across Ironheart. In the capital city, crowds of Grexians surrounded the government building. They demanded that Rockstomper change his mind. "Call the humans," they shouted. "Accept their offer. Save our children." But Rockstomper was stubborn. "We are Grexians," he announced from his office window. "We do not beg for help from anyone." Then something unexpected happened. A group of young Grexian engineers broke into the planet's communication center. They sent a direct message to Admiral Kimbo. "Admiral, this is Engineer Pebble Crusher. Our government is wrong. We want to accept your offer. Can you still save us?" Kimbo received the message and felt troubled. She could not make deals with rebels, but she also did not want to watch 800 million beings die. She sent a message back. "If your people truly want our help, they must speak with one voice. We cannot work with a divided government." The answer came 2 hours later. The Grexian military had arrested Governor Rockstomper. The young engineer Pebble Crusher was now acting governor. Her first official act was to accept all human conditions. "Send your ships," she said. "We agree to everything. Just please save our people." Admiral Kimbo looked at the clock. 4 hours until the solar flare hit. Setting up a solar shield normally took 8 hours. But she had to try. "All ships," she announced over the fleet radio. "Emergency deployment to Ironheart. We have 4 hours to save 800 million lives." The human rescue ships flew toward Ironheart faster than they had ever flown before. Human engineers worked without stopping, setting up shield generators at maximum speed. Some ships crashed from going too fast. Some engineers collapsed from exhaustion. But they kept working. 3 hours later, the solar flare erupted from Kepler 442. The solar flare rescue changed everything. All across the galaxy, aliens were talking about what the humans had done. 12 worlds saved in 3 days, 12 billion lives protected. And the humans had asked for something in return. This was new. For 30 years, humans had given free help to anyone who needed it. They had shared their technology, fought alien wars, and asked for nothing back. The aliens had gotten used to free human charity. Now that was over. Fleet Admiral Park Tay stood on the bridge of his flagship, the New Sol. He was orbiting the planet Mindara Prime, where human engineers were building a permanent base. Park Tay was 50 years old with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had fought in 12 space battles to protect alien worlds. Now he was protecting human interests. "Admiral," said his communications officer, "we have another request for aid. The Corellian Collective wants help with their food shortage." Park Tay looked at the message. The Corellians looked like tall, thin birds with bright feathers. They had been having problems growing enough food for their people. Before, humans would have sent aid ships immediately. Now things were different. What do they offer in exchange? Park Tae asked. Nothing, sir. They expect free help like before. Park Tae smiled. Send them our standard response. No payment, no aid. The standard response was simple. Humans would provide help, but only in exchange for something valuable. Technology, raw materials, military bases, or political support. The days of free human charity were over. On the planet Mindara Prime, Dr. Fluttersong was meeting with Director Seo Wan of the Human Independence Initiative. Seo Wan was a smart woman with short black hair and a businesslike attitude. She was in charge of making deals with alien worlds that wanted human help. Your people are adapting well, Seo Wan said. They were walking through the new human district of Mindara Prime's capital city. Human buildings were going up everywhere. Homes, offices, research centers, and military bases. Fluttersong's golden wings sparkled in the sunlight. We are grateful to be alive. Without human help, we would all be dead. And now you are part of something new, Seo Wan said. The human Commonwealth is not like the old council. Here every species has an equal voice. This was true. In the human Commonwealth, decisions were made by voting. Each member species got one vote, whether they had 1 billion people or 1 million. It was very different from the Galactic Council, where big species could bully small ones. Fluttersong had been to Commonwealth meetings. They were strange but wonderful. Humans, Mindara, Grexians, and dozen of other species all sat together as equals. No one species was more important than another. How many worlds have joined us now? Fluttersong asked. 47, Seo Wan replied. And more are asking to join every day. This was the galaxy's big secret. While the Galactic Council pretended everything was normal, dozens of worlds were quietly joining the human Commonwealth. They wanted human technology, human protection, and human fairness. On the Council capital world, Council Prime Veltar was in an emergency meeting. Around him sat the leaders of the Council's most powerful species. They were all worried. We are losing control, said General Scartooth of the Velkans. The Velkans looked like giant lizards, and Scartooth was the biggest and meanest. 47 worlds have left the Council to join the humans. It is worse than that, said Ambassador Stoneheart of the Grexians. Even our own colony worlds are talking about leaving. They want human protection. Veltar's crystal body flashed angry red. The humans are stealing our member worlds. This is an act of war. But High Counselor Bluesong of the Trilons disagreed. The Trilons looked almost like humans, but with blue skin. They had been Earth's first alien friends, though they had not helped humans in the Council vote. The humans are not stealing anything, Bluesong said. They are offering something we cannot. Effective protection and fair treatment. Our member worlds are choosing to leave. Then we must offer them better treatment too, suggested Veltar. Scartooth hissed with anger. We should not have to compete with upstart humans. We ruled the galaxy for thousands of years before they left their little planet. And we will continue to rule, Stoneheart added. We just need to show the humans their place. But Bluesong was not so sure. Perhaps we should consider making peace with them. Their Commonwealth is growing stronger every day. The other council leaders looked at Bluesong with surprise. You want to surrender to humans? Scartooth asked. I want to survive, Bluesong replied. And right now, the humans are winning. While the council argued, the human Commonwealth was growing. Every week, new species asked to join. Some were small colonies looking for protection. Others were major worlds tired of council corruption. The Cathera tribes were one of the bigger groups to join. The Cathera looked like walking trees with many arms. They controlled 15 star systems rich in rare minerals. For centuries, the council had taxed these minerals heavily. Chief Bark Whisper of the Cathara met with Admiral Kim Bo on the human world of New Geneva. New Geneva was the capital of the human Commonwealth, built in just 6 months on a previously empty planet. We offer military alliance, Bark Whisper said, in his deep, rustling voice. Our ships will fight beside human ships. Our minerals will supply human industry. In exchange, we want protection and fair trade. Kimbo studied the offer. The Cathera had good warships and very valuable minerals. Their 15 star systems would make the Commonwealth much stronger. What about the Council? Kimbo asked. They will not be happy to lose 15 star systems. Bark Whisper's wooden face showed something like a smile. The Council has taxed us for 800 years. They take 90% of our mineral wealth and give us nothing back. We are tired of being robbed. Kimbo nodded. Welcome to the Commonwealth, Chief Bark Whisper. The Cathera joining was a huge blow to the Council. 15 star systems, millions of warriors, and vast mineral wealth, all switching from the Council to the Commonwealth in one day. But the humans were not finished. Dr. Lim Su, one of humanity's best engineers, was working on something that would change space travel forever. Dr. Lim Su was 43 years old and very smart. She had been working with alien scientists for 15 years, learning about their technology. Now she was improving it. The quantum jump drive is ready for testing, she told Admiral Kim Bo. They were in a secret research facility on the human world of Kepler 438b. Kim Bo looked at the device. It was about the size of a car, covered in wires and strange crystals. What does it do? It makes space travel 10 times faster, Dr. Lim Su replied. A journey that takes 10 days will now take 1 day. But only Commonwealth ships will have this technology. This was huge news. Fast space travel meant Commonwealth ships could respond to emergencies quickly. They could deliver aid faster, move military forces faster, and explore new worlds faster. But more importantly, it meant Council ships would be much slower than Commonwealth ships. In any conflict, speed would give the Commonwealth a massive advantage. The first test of the quantum jump drive was a success. A Commonwealth ship traveled from Earth to the edge of human space in just 6 hours, a journey that normally took 3 days. News of the new drive spread quickly through the galaxy. More alien worlds wanted to join the Commonwealth to get access to the technology. The Council offered money and threats to keep worlds loyal, but it was not enough. On the Grexian homeworld, young Governor Pebble-Crusher was preparing for her world to join the Commonwealth. She had saved her people from the solar flare by accepting human help. Now she wanted to make the alliance permanent, but the old Grexian leaders were angry. They called Pebble-Crusher a traitor for working with humans. Some threatened civil war if she joined the Commonwealth. Pebble-Crusher did not care. She had seen what humans could do. They had saved 800 million Grexian lives when the old leaders would have let them all die for pride. The humans treat us as equals, she announced to the Grexian Senate. They do not demand tribute or taxes. They offer protection and partnership. Why would we refuse this? The old senators grumbled, but they could not argue with results. Grexian colonies that joined the Commonwealth were prospering. They had human technology, human protection, and human trade. Meanwhile, Grexian worlds still in the Council were struggling with high taxes and little support. The vote was close, but Pebble-Crusher won. The Grexian homeworld would join the human Commonwealth. This was the biggest shock yet. The Grexians were one of the Council's founding species. They had been members for 3,000 years. For them to leave was almost unthinkable. Council Prime Veltar received the news while meeting with his advisors. His crystal body flashed through every color at once. He was experiencing all emotions at the same time. This cannot continue, he said. We are losing the galaxy to these humans. What do you suggest? Asked General Scartooth. Military action? Veltar considered this. The Council still had the bigger military. Their ships outnumbered Commonwealth ships 5 to 1. They could probably win a war, but wars were expensive and destructive, and the Commonwealth was growing stronger every day. In a year or two, they might be too strong to defeat. Not yet, Veltar decided. First, we try diplomacy. Contact the humans. Offer them a deal. What kind of deal? Asked Ambassador Stoneheart. Anything they want, Veltar replied. 1 year had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council. The galaxy was now divided into 2 parts, the old Council and the new human Commonwealth. The Commonwealth was winning. Secretary General Kang Min stood in his office on New Geneva, looking out at the stars. A year ago, he had been Ambassador Kang Min, begging aliens to treat humans fairly. Now he was the leader of the fastest-growing government in galactic history. His assistant, Captain Park Young, brought him an important message. Sir, the Galactic Council has sent a formal invitation. They want you to address the Council chamber as an equal power. Kang Min smiled. The same chamber where humans had been humiliated now wanted to hear from them as equals. How many worlds are in the Commonwealth now? 112, sir. More than half of all inhabited systems. This was remarkable. In just 1 year, the human Commonwealth had grown from nothing to the galaxy's largest political organization. Meanwhile, the old council was shrinking every day. Accept the invitation, Kang Min said, but we go on our terms. 3 days later, Kang Min's ship arrived at the Council capital world. But he did not come alone. 5 Commonwealth warships escorted him. Ships with the new quantum jump drives that made them faster than anything the Council had. The Council chamber looked the same as it had a year ago. Curved rows of seats rising up like a giant bowl. Thousands of alien beings watching from above. But now many of those seats were empty. The species that had left for the Commonwealth were not there anymore. Kang Min walked across the chamber floor to the speaking platform. He wore the same dark blue diplomatic uniform, but now it had new symbols. The badge of the human Commonwealth. He was no longer speaking for just humanity. He spoke for 112 different species. The aliens who remained watched him nervously. These were the species that had voted against humanity a year ago. They were the ones who had said humans were too young, too emotional, too dangerous to be treated as equals. Council Prime Veltar sat at the top of the chamber. His crystal body was flickering between colors. He was uncertain and afraid. Around him sat the leaders of the remaining Council species. There were fewer of them now. Beings of the Council, Kang Min began. 1 year ago I stood in this chamber and asked for simple equality. You voted against us by the largest margin in Council history. The chamber was very quiet. Some aliens looked ashamed. Others looked angry. Today I return not as a supplicant but as the leader of a new galactic order. The human Commonwealth represents 112 species across more than half of inhabited space. Murmurs arose from the audience. Even the Council leaders knew these numbers, but hearing them spoken aloud was shocking. You chose to reject human partnership, Kang Min continued. In response, we chose to build something better. A galaxy where species are judged by their contributions, not their age. Where decisions are made by merit, not by might. Dr. Baek Jun, now the Commonwealth's chief science advisor, stepped forward with a holographic display. The display showed the galaxy as it was now. Areas controlled by the Council in red, areas controlled by the Commonwealth in blue. Look at your trade volumes, Dr. Baek Jun said, pointing to charts and graphs. In Council space, trade has dropped 40%. In Commonwealth space, it has increased by 200%. More charts appeared. Look at technological advancement. Council worlds are using the same technology they had 5 years ago. Commonwealth worlds have new innovations every month. The data was undeniable. The Commonwealth worlds were richer, safer, and more advanced than Council worlds. The human Commonwealth was not just bigger than the old Council, it was better. Look at conflict resolution, Dr. Baek Jun continued. Council space has seen 47 wars and disputes this year. Commonwealth space has seen 3, all resolved peacefully through mediation. Admiral Li Yun, now Admiral of the Commonwealth Fleet, took the platform next. She was the same officer who had watched humanity's humiliation a year ago. Now she commanded the galaxy's most powerful military. The Commonwealth Fleet consists of 8,000 ships, she announced, all equipped with quantum jump drives, solar shielding technology, and adaptive defense systems. Our response time to any crisis is measured in hours, not weeks. She looked directly at General Scartooth of the Velkans. We have stopped 12 pirate attacks, prevented 6 planetary disasters, and mediated 37 diplomatic disputes. We ask for nothing except fair treatment and mutual respect. The Council leaders shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Their own military was larger but much slower. Their response time to crises was often weeks or months. Many Council worlds had begun requesting Commonwealth aid instead of Council help because it came faster and worked better. Council Prime Veltar finally spoke. His crystal body was pulsing with nervous yellow light. What do you propose? The question hung in the air. Everyone knew what it meant. The Council was admitting that the Commonwealth was stronger. They were asking for terms. Kang Min stepped back to the platform. We propose a new galactic order. Not the Commonwealth absorbing the Council, or the Council absorbing the Commonwealth. Something entirely new. A new holographic display appeared. It showed a galaxy divided into regions, each governed by local councils. Above them was a galactic senate where every species had an equal vote. Regional autonomy with galactic cooperation, Kang Min explained. Each region governs itself according to its own values. But we work together on issues that affect everyone: trade, defense, exploration, and crisis response. Dr. Baek Jun added details. Free trade between all regions, joint research projects, shared defense against external threats, and most importantly, No species is considered superior to any other. This was revolutionary. The old council system was based on hierarchy. Big old species ruled over small young ones. The new system would treat everyone equally. Admiral Li Yun spoke again. We leave this chamber today regardless of your decision. The Commonwealth will continue to grow and prosper. The question is whether you want to be part of that future or remain trapped in the past. The chamber erupted in debate. Some aliens wanted to accept the human proposal immediately. Others refused to consider any deal with humans. The arguing went on for hours. Finally, High Counselor Bluesong of the Trilons stood up. The Trilons had been humanity's first alien friends, though they had not helped in the crucial vote a year ago. I have a question for Secretary General Kang Min, Bluesong said. If we join this new galactic order, what happens to species that have wronged you? What happens to those of us who voted against human equality? Kang Min looked at Bluesong for a long moment. This was the key question. Would humans seek revenge against those who had rejected them? The past is the past, Kang Min said finally. We are building a future. Any species that commits to equality and cooperation is welcome, regardless of past votes or actions. This answer shocked many aliens. They had expected humans to be angry and vengeful. Instead, the humans were offering forgiveness and partnership, but not everyone was convinced. General Scartooth of the Velkans stood up, his lizard-like body towering over the other delegates. The Velkans will never bow to human leadership, he declared. We ruled the galaxy long before humans learned to make fire. We will not be equals with primitive mammals, Kang Min nodded calmly. That is your choice, General. The Commonwealth respects your right to self-determination. You may continue as you are. And if we choose to fight, Scartooth challenged. Admiral Li Yun answered this one. Then you will lose. Our technology is better, our ships are faster, and our cause is just. But we would prefer to work together. The debate continued for 3 more hours. In the end, the vote was closer than anyone expected. 67 species voted to join the new galactic order. 43 voted to remain with the old council system. 26 abstained. It was not the overwhelming victory Kang Min had hoped for, but it was enough. More than half of the remaining council species wanted to try something new. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Council Prime Veltar approached Kang Min privately. I voted to join your new order, Veltar said quietly, but I must ask, do you truly forgive us for what we did? For rejecting your people when you needed friends? Kang Min looked at the crystal being who had presided over humanity's humiliation. Forgiveness is not about forgetting, Council Prime. It is about choosing to build something better despite the pain of the past. Veltar's crystal body glowed with warm blue light, gratitude and hope. Thank you, Secretary General. Perhaps we can learn to do better. As the human ships left the Council capital world, they carried with them the hopes of billions. The galaxy was about to be reborn. 6 months later, the new Galactic Union was officially established. It had 3 levels of government. Local councils governed individual star systems. Regional senates governed groups of nearby systems. The Galactic Senate dealt with issues affecting everyone. In the Galactic Senate, every species had 1 vote, whether they had 1 billion people or 1 million. Decisions were made by majority rule, with special protections for minority rights. The old council system was not destroyed. It continued to exist for species that preferred the traditional way. But it now controlled fewer than 50 star systems, mostly in remote areas of the galaxy.